Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. In our previous video, we saw how to solve multiplication equations. Okay, as a review, we need to isolate the variable using division because the opposite of multiplication is division. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other, and that's how we get our answer. So let's look at some examples of that. If we go to OneNote, and let me go down to number 7, I believe. Yes, number 7. Here we see some really good examples. For example, let's look at 7b. 7b, notice that we have 11 times a, or 11a is equal to 22. And we want to see what is the value of a. Well, here we have an equation. Let's isolate the variable. Let's isolate the letter a using the opposite operation that we're doing. The opposite of multiplying by 11 is to divide by 11. However, whatever I do to one side, we must do to the other. All right, so 11 divided by 11 is 1. 1 times a is just a. 22 divided by 11 will give us 2. Notice how 11 times 2 will give us 22. That would be my answer. A has to equal 2. Awesome. Well, that works for numbers, right? But how about for fractions? What happens when I have a fraction like I do in 7c? 4 sevenths times k is equal to 20. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's essentially the same process. Okay, I am multiplying here 4 sevenths times k, and to get rid of multiplication, to isolate the variable, to isolate the k, I need to divide by 4 sevenths. 4 sevenths divided by 4 sevenths is going to give me 1. 1 times k is just k. So k will equal to whatever 20 times 4 sevenths. Sorry, not times. 20 divided by, because remember we just divided by 4 sevenths. By 4 sevenths is. Now we need to remember that when we're dividing with fractions, we have to do keep, change, flip. KCF. So we keep the 20, change the division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction into its reciprocal, to its inverse. So 7 over fourths. So now I just have to do 20 over 1 times 7 fourths, and that'll give me the value of k. So k will equal to whatever that is. So 20 times 7 should be 140. 140 divided by 4, that will give you your answer. Awesome. That is essentially it. Now there is a shortcut, ladies and gentlemen. There is a shortcut that you can do whenever you're multiplying with fractions. And that shortcut is the following. If I start with the same exact problem, 4 sevenths times k, it's still multiplication, is equal to 20. Now, and if this shortcut is a little confusing, don't worry, you don't have to use it. It's not much of a shortcut, it's just a different way of thinking of the problem. Remember that when you're dividing, you're essentially, you're doing keep, change, flip. So you're taking that first number and you're multiplying it times the reciprocal. So here I'm gonna multiply this by the reciprocal. The opposite or the inverse of 4 sevenths is 7 fourths. Notice how multiplying it by 7 fourths essentially cancels it out. 7 times 4 is 28. 4 times 7 is 28. 28 over 28 is 1. So that cancels it out. All right, k is now isolated. Oops. K is now isolated. However, whatever I do to one side, since I multiply this side by 7 fourths, I need to multiply this side by 7 fourths. And notice how that is exactly what I ended up doing in the previous problem, except it's a little cleaner. 20 times 7. 1 times 4, simplified. So we get the exact same answer. So if I work this out, I'm going to simplify before I multiply. That's going to be 5 times 7, which is 35. That is my final answer. So ladies and gentlemen, it's not super hard. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. In fact, if I go down to number 14, we'll see another fraction. Here I have, let's try this one. 3/5 times x, notice we're multiplying times a fraction, right? Multiplication right here is equal to 21. And again, the easiest way to get rid of a fraction is to multiply it times the inverted version of it, 5/3. All right, so I already know that's going to cancel out, but whatever I did to one side, which was multiply by 5/3, I must multiply on the other side, 5/3. All right, so x will equal to whatever 21 times 5 over 1 times 3. Now I can simplify right here. I can divide both of these by 3. That will be 7, because 7 times 3 is 21. 3 divided by 3 is 3, okay? And again, that gives me, hey, look, it's the same answer, 35. Yes, you don't have to simplify before you multiply. You can just go ahead and multiply. This is going to give me 105 over 3, and 105 divided by 3 should give me 35. Yep. I'm just moving it really fast. Yep, it would give me 35. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now that we saw how to do this with fractions, let's quickly do a word problem. In fact, let me go to the very top. Let's go to number 3, which is the first problem in your submission. I did shorten it a little bit. So notice what number 3 says. If an average American composted 1.5 pounds of trash every single day, how many people would it take? So how many people would it take to compost 114 pounds of trash in a day? So let's write an equation. We know that each person is going to do 1.5 pounds, and that's happening for each person. Notice that means multiplication. One person, 1.5 pounds. Another person, another 1.5 pounds. Another person, another 1.5. We're doing the same thing multiple times. And all the way until we compost 114 pounds. How am I going to get to that total? It's going to be 1.5 pounds per person, but I don't know how many people. Notice again, it is an equation. 1.5 times x will give me 114. Let us find that value of x. Well, I need to isolate the variable. I need to isolate the x, but I need to get rid of this multiplication by 1.5. The opposite of multiplying by 1.5 is to divide by 1.5. Now it is gone. X is isolated, but whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So I must divide 114 by 1.5. All right, so I'm going to work that out here on the side. 114 divided by 1.5. Please remember that whenever you're dividing, if the divisor, the number on the outside, has a decimal, you must move the decimal until it is a whole number. I only had to move it one time, meaning that I have to take the decimal here in the 114, which is at the very end, and move it over one time in the same direction, leaving me with 1,140 divided by 15. 15 goes into 1 0 times, it goes into 11 0 times, but it goes into 114. I'm not sure. Let me try 9. Let's see, just to see where I'm at. No, it won't be 9. Let's try 8 times. Right, 8 times 5 is 40. 8, that will be 120. So that's a little bit too much. So let's try 15 times 7. 7 times 5 is 35. 7, that's going to be 105. Okay. 7, 105. We subtract. It's going to be 14,901. So I get 109. And notice that we're just going to keep on going. Oh my gosh. That doesn't make sense. Oh, that would be 0. Sorry. 9. So now it's going to be 90. Okay, good. So 15 goes into 90. So it goes to 30 twice. 64 times 90 would be 6 times, I believe. 15 times 6. Yep, 30. 6, 7, 8, 9. Exactly. So x would have to be equal to 76, unless I did something wrong. All right. The key here, guys, is you make the equation. You use division to isolate the variable. Once you divide, that's going to give you your final answer. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video helpful. And with that in mind, I will see you next time.